I've always wanted to talk to like a real Democrat to see what they would say to this, but
Okay.
it's about abortion because I come from a conservative family or whatever. Appears they're conservative. Didn't seem they used to be, but anyways, regards to abortion, I was wondering if there would be any benefit politically to have like a middle ground kind of, or olive branch, or I don't know what you'd call it, but pretty much that.
Tell me what middle ground your parents,
No, it's nothing about my parents.
or your family.
They're completely what they would accept, probably nothing.
Exactly. Aside from putting aside the idea that I think that no, you shouldn't really trade away a woman's right to have sovereignty over her own body as a tenet. I'm just saying, strictly as a political matter, this was attempted. In fact, Hillary Clinton, back in the early aughts, was sort of leading this charge on some level, and she abandoned it, I think, because she found that also she was going to alienate the Democrats, but also that the fact is, with all due respect to your family, they're not just worried about abortion. They're worried about women having sex, period. And it doesn't stop at abortion. It is the idea. My idea was
just that if you made it so like you get sex education after an abortion or something, or there was some sort of
they're not going to stop
like
there.
It's taken seriously.
It's not about appeasing them and getting some sort of end. It's exactly what Sam said. It's emotional, so you're not going to be able to find a middle ground there. It's an emotional reaction.
What I think, like a lot of people,
having sex.
But it's not just a question of an emotional reaction. There is a belief amongst a significant portion of the population that women should not be having sex except to procreate. They should not have any ability to inhibit the procreation. It is also because it is an assault on the traditional family, which is that the woman is chattel, essentially, of the husband. If you cannot reinstitute the legal relationship, you can do it basically de facto. Woman does not have the ability to go out and make money because she does not have the ability to determine whether she will be pregnant or not. And it's also, not God's plan for women to have sex for any other reason except for procreate. I mean, that's at the heart of all of this.
I know that's probably why that's what they think, yes. But I guess what I'm saying is I think that if you have abortions or whatever, perhaps there should be some sort of, looking into, so it's not used like McDonald's. It's not just drive through, get abortion, come back, drive through.
Okay.
I guess I'm saying like even the guy could get punished.
Well, wait a second. See, now listen, this is first off.
Punished. Punished is the wrong word.
No, actually, but, punished is the right word. Because that is.
I guess I'm saying like some sort of.
What's wrong
sex
with
education?
Wait a second. What's wrong with, as a political matter, you're going to vote for who you're going to vote for. I don't know if you vote for Democrats as it is or not, but I think punish is the right answer because again, you're not allowed, according to this fundamentalism, to engage in sex unless it is to create a child. And if you do, you deserve to be punished. And so the flip side of that is it should not be easy for you to control your biological fate. So you shouldn't be able to get it like it's McDonald's. Now,
But it's also just
But-
a false notion. It's not treated like it's McDonald's. It's actually quite traumatic. I mean, it's traumatic for
Oh,
women.
I know.
Well, first of all, I don't think it's that traumatic, and it doesn't have to be.
It can be.
It certainly can be, but so can getting your appendix out. And so, I mean, the fact is, it is a medical procedure. It is a very safe medical procedure. It is done probably as often, if not more often, than the getting your appendix out. And
I guess I'm just thinking of like a middle ground that like a
what middle ground is
not,
there? What wait a second, what middle ground is there between
slight amount of sex education? If you get two abortions,
Why?
or something treated
you think
like
that people
like
don't
I
know
was
how to
thinking
have
a
sex?
baby.
What is it that you don't? What is it that you need to be educated about?
Well, I think a baby, maybe it's not a human, maybe it's not a
No, it's
grown
it's
adult.
not a person.
But
It's not a person.
it's not a person. No, that's what I'm saying.
It's a
but
fetus.
you can't. I feel like you can't treat a thing like it ain't a thing. It is a thing. And I understand
eat
it's
meat?
a little tyrannical for people to want to control your body.
Do
yes.
you
no
eat-
one's, but
wait,
no
wait,
To
one's
have a
treating them
reasonable
like
amount
Do
of
you eat
education
meat?
enforced
Do you eat meat?
if you were in that circumstance. Just like
Well,
anything, like an animal is abused, so that has some rights.
do you eat meat?
Does that matter? I'm not debating.
Oh, you're not debating. Okay. Well, I'm just curious.
No, I'm
you're
just
trying
wondering if this is a political idea that
No.
I think could find a middle ground.
No.
Where it's like we
No.
treat it seriously.
Yeah, we're universally no.
But we're not crazy fundamentals.
No. There is no
Okay.
political benefit for what you're talking about. None.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah. All right.
See
Yeah.
what
I
your
mean,
opinion
that,
was.
that question's been raised before. There is no political benefit. I mean, there's just no, it's just, there's none
It
because
doesn't seem like more reasonable if your policy was like, yes, you can get abortions if it's a
Talk about reasonable policy, though. What is their end goal ultimately? What do they want people
Wait a
to
second.
do?
So wait a second. So you tell me, okay, you're asking me if there is any political benefit. My answer to you is no. And you say, but wait, maybe there is. Who is the
Oh, no, I'm
voter?
just-
Hold on. Who
Yeah.
is the voter? Describe to me the voter who's out there going like, well, the Democrats seem a little more reasonable about allowing abortions. I was against abortion, but because they're going to make the woman and the man who impregnated the woman, because they're going to make them take a sex ed course, which incidentally, I'm probably statistically also against since I'm against abortion. But since they're going to take a sex ed course, I'm now in support of Democrats. Who is that person? Like, have you ever
maybe
met
someone who's not fully fundamental
Who?
but also believes in God,
who?
I don't know. I believe in God, but I'm not crazy fundamental, believe everything the Bible says.
Do you need
blah, blah,
that?
blah. I
Let me
have
ask you a question.
spiritual
Do you
side to
vote
me,
for
no?
Democrats now?
You want me to expose that to the entire world? And what if, I don't know. I'm not going to discuss that publicly.
Okay. Well, my
Talking
point is
directly
that,
online
okay,
or something, I will
okay,
tell you
All right,
for
listen.
sure.
All right. Let me ask you this: would it change your behavior in terms of who you vote for if that was the difference?
It would make me feel a little less bad, maybe, if
Okay,
I thought that.
but
sex
would it
was
change your
taken
behavior?
seriously.
Because voting is a behavior. Would it change your behavior?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, if
It's
you're
the one
unsure,
thing that I can't argue
if
my
you're-
parents with. Everything else seems like, okay, I don't, that's crazy.
do you think it would change your parents'
build
behavior?
a wall? No.
Do you think it would change your
What?
parents' behavior?
No.
All right. Appreciate the call. I mean, I think you've answered your own question. It's not going to, as a political matter, it doesn't change. It doesn't change people's attitude towards it. And I think, like, listen, you were raised in a fundamentalist household. You have been taught that it is a sin for women to have the ability to determine whether they have a child. And that is a hard thing, I think, to shake, because you have been grown up with that sort of fundamentalist worldview, and it is a very hard thing to shake. I mean, because it's literally fundamentalist.
But there's just no one, like, these conversations. I mean, the this guy has no idea what women feel like at the doctor's office. Like that's so much of what centers around this topic about abortion. The healthcare choices that women have to make to not get pregnant are really difficult, and they involve money and time and often tough side effects. I've experienced this with my contraceptive choices. It's not something we take lightly. And if a woman gets pregnant by accident, they have a right to make that decision, because you're not making the decision when you have sex with them, and you don't have to make those choices about your own body, and it affects your body. You're taking hormones. You have an IUD, which is extremely painful to insert, and then sometimes there's issues there, and doctor's visits. And I have all the resources to deal with these issues. There are a lot of women that don't have the resources. So it's just this ignorant, theoretical conversation about women's bodies when there's no understanding of what women deal with in terms of all of these complex issues. Abortion is always a last resort for women. They don't want to go there first, but oftentimes women don't have access to these extremely complex and expensive contraceptive options. So
yeah. The ask there was for every woman who gets an abortion to go through some sort of state mandated brainwashing campaign to basically make his conversations with his parents a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's how can you make this more palatable for me as, a guy who's uncomfortable with this situation, as opposed to someone who's actually implicated in the matter.
It's about it's about the woman who has to deal with it and her individual choice about her health. I don't really care about making him feel good about it. And by the way, this isn't a voting issue that currently affects things. Yes, it's one of the issues that evangelicals vote on, but they vote Republican no matter what. So I'm not interested in catering to these people. And also, politics is about beating back really old school ideas like this. A majority of the country believes abortion is a right. Done with the conversation. You don't need to tweak around the edges so he and his parents personally feel better.